enhance the total experience. And any of us would like to go to a restaurant where the staff is more, they're more aware of what they're doing, they're more polite, they handle us. So even though getting a newer staff, training them is a cost factor, but that sort of balances when you're reducing staff and money. So if you're frugal enough and if you're able to do that, I think what I have seen largely amongst most of our members when we sent the questionnaire to them, they were all very happy. Uh, a little bit here and there is gone up because your savings have gone down. You don't have anything extra lying in your bank where you can bank out that been used to revive your business. But then I think now onwards, touch it should work fine.
Right. So friendly staff and friendly and aware staff, right? So Aditi, you curate experiences, right? You have customers, you have different personas in town, right, and have different expectations. So when you curate for such an audience, right? I mean, tell us more about how do you go about doing it, and how do you ensure consistency? Because then you're setting the bar really up there, right? It's not easy to keep eating that same bar every now and then or repeating it. So how do you do that?
So I think that, for us, especially, I mean, I'll speak purely for when we started Mask, is that the endeavor was that we wanted to try to be sustainable. Sustainability is also sort of such an abused term in the sense that, every restaurant I think is trying to get there. And I think 5 years ago we made this conscious decision where, we realized that there is, Pavan also mentioned that you always have this idea of a global idea and you want to sit in your country and you want to imagine having that global experience here, is that we realized that we talk about our land, we talk about our agriculture, we talk about regional and local. And of course, if something was growing in a backyard in Uttarakhand, you would definitely eat that product in Uttarakhand, cook it there and enjoy it there, but you wouldn't really ever see it on restaurant menus. And I think that that was the endeavor when we started Mask, was that, when we're talking about local, regional, why can't we put these ingredients and actually see them shine on a menu and actually give that ingredient or that story, or sort of take that traceability to the farmer and give that importance and focus and make it, sort of give it that global, put it on a global platform, give it that highlight, to say that, we're forward thinkers, we're really looking at moving towards sustainability in this way, that, right, like importing a avocado or things like that. And so for us, that became sort of a trend that we now use in sort of our own world, is that we're really curating based on what the customer wants. We really understand customer habits, customer experiences, customer expectations, and we're curating for that. So for example, in the pandemic, we started making saro, like did everybody else sitting in their homes. But I'm just saying that we're changing our, whether it was providing a barbecue experience at somebody's home. It was that we were really listening to what our audience wanted, and we were customizing for that.
Understood. Saisha, one question to you on, as we all have discussed, right, the customer is evolving, new preferences, new expectations, and it has given rise to very different type of cuisines, right? I mean, apart from the regular cuisines that we used to know earlier, now it is Vietnamese, it's Korean, it's even Caribbean, right? So when you run so many restaurants together, right, what works? I mean, having multiple cuisines in a restaurant, or do single cuisine restaurant also can make a space for themselves in this one?
So I'm just going to go as per personal experience. We've gone from doing everything to being very specific now. Earlier, where we would want to do, Italian, European, continental, we still have some formats like that do beautifully. I would personally do away with having everything together in one restaurant now and be very, very cuisine specific, because know what they want. Like they are extremely aware of what they want to eat, and not just the cuisine, but they know every ingredient of the cuisine. They are so well read, well traveled, aware of what they are actually going to experience and what they're going to pay for. So now, I don't know how this will move ahead further, but right now everyone is very, very cuisine specific and more than cuisine, experience specific. So to give you an example, I'm going to speak only about Opa. We opened Opa recently. And while we had to keep the Greek food very, very authentic, we had to give them an overall experience. Just the food wasn't enough. So depending again on the format and how much you can scale it up in terms of how larger than life you make it. So that's what we chose to do in OPA. But you also have a lot of formats that are humble in their approach but stick to a specific cuisine. So if you're coming back to just the cuisine, I would say that people would go out for a certain experience and they don't want a scattered menu anymore.
Wow. So it's like razor sharp focus customer is what we will be seeing soon. I think it's time for the. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much for conducting this session, and thank you so much for that. I really like the prep. I really like the question, and I totally agree with Mr. Kohli. Very, very interesting questions. The floor is now open for the audience. Does anybody have questions? So please raise your hand, and you can ask the question to our panelists here. Anybody with a question? Please raise your hand. Anyone? Anyone? I think Mr. Mahajan covered it all. The man came with a lot of preparation. Is there somebody there? Oh. Yeah, please. Please go for it, sir. Can somebody give the mic there, please? Hi.
Good evening. So I have a question to both the ladies out there. So you both nowadays, specific cuisine is working. So I personally feel little bit other way around. Specific cuisine may work in terms of dine out, but nowadays, considering the fact that post COVID, a lot of people are ordering online, and especially in terms of dine out also, if I go with my family, so probably it like specific cuisine may work in for couple, but when we go with family, then a child may want a different stuff, and parents may want a different stuff. There, child plays a very influencing role. This is my experience. And then family end up going somewhere else. So what do you feel about that? And apart from that, another question I have, that if I want to order a very specific meal, then my average order value goes down in ordering online, I'm saying. Because I do not have a lot of options, in terms of cuisine. But when I have a lot of options, like I have pav bhaji, I have Italian, I have whatever, Punjabi, South Indian, then I end up ordering a lot of food. Probably your average order value may go up beyond 600, 800. Because the challenge here is, if order value goes down in order online, then it is not profitable as such. So what do you feel about that?
So, like I mentioned, I think even in my first answer that, COVID has obviously made us also realize that it's a changing environment where people are looking to go out for experiences now, to go to specific experiences, like to go with a family or to go with a pet or to go with your kids or to go for date night. So as we as restaurateurs are also growing and building our concepts, we're taking these things into account. Like recently I worked on a pet friendly cafe in BKC, and it is it provides for so many different options of, dining with your pet or going there as a meal with a family or to go, with kids. So I think that while you'll also have some hero products that will be cuisine specific, you'll also have to cater to family experiences or looking at it as in a more holistic way. And I think that has been some lessons that also the pandemic taught us.
While we have obviously, like when I say cuisine, every cuisine, for example, if you pick up a Chinese, if you pick up an Italian, within a cuisine also there is a lot to explore. So it's not limited to a 5 or 10 just absolutely exquisite dishes. They can, if the intent is to cater to a larger audience. It is possible to make a menu which has your hero dishes, but also has dishes that are liked by most of the crowd. So it is possible to do that if the intent is there, and of course you have a few dishes that have to stand out because they're like your main hero dishes, but then you also have a lot of dishes that you can, all age groups will enjoy. So that's one. And honestly speaking, when I was talking about the experiences and cuisine specific outings, I was speaking about dine-in in this case, not so much delivery. Delivery, I think, is a completely different ball game. It's a different now a different category altogether when it comes to restaurants. So I think that's a larger conversation because that is a completely different format to follow.
I hope your question is answered. Any more questions to the panelists, please? Please raise your hand. Yeah, at the front.
Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just walked in, so sorry for intruding in and asking the questions like that. But me being a chef by education, having parallel careers, I'm trying some hands-on in the pet food industry now. So since you said that you started pet cafes, I just wanted to understand that what exactly do you think is the scope of accepting freelancers in this industry, accepting concepts like just doing things on the weekend, because weekdays most of the pet owners are busy. And what do you think about creative ideas like exclusive dining and corporate billing and all of that?
I think there's a huge scope, and I think like, for example, Jewel Drive is apparently the only pet-friendly mall right now in the country, right? So I think that there is huge scope. In fact, I was at a meeting last week and they were talking about like a pet pool outside of their mall to, do these pet-friendly events. They have like a pet salon on the weekends during their farmers market. So I think that, pets are part of your